Hey, it's Kim Komando today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to komando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. You know, I never heard about this before, and I didn't know why. The guy's name is Nick Mead, and he's a tank collector from the United Kingdom. Yes, I said he's a tank collector. I mean, everybody has to collect something, I guess, and he owns a company that provides tanks and armored vehicles for, he says, driving classes, TV shows, film props, and he says occasionally, quote-unquote, epic parties. Okay, so he bought a tank, and it's an ex-Iraqi Army Type 69, and by how he got it, he traded a howitzer and a British Army truck, anyway, valued together $37,000 with an eBay seller. So he gets this ex-Iraqi Army Type 69 tank. Okay. When he gets it back to his shop, now remember, he bought this on eBay. Inside the fuel tanks, he found gold bars, not just 1 or 2 or 3 gold bars. He found $2.4 million in gold bars. Wow, inside this tank. I bet it was awfully heavy. Okay, awfully heavy. Okay, let me explain. AU is gold on the periodic table. All right, I'm sorry, you guys and gals, you're just a tough crowd, all right? Just a tough crowd. And welcome once again to another hour of America's most trusted source about all things digital. I'm, of course, Kim Komando here with you once again. And you can find us in over 425 top stations from coast to coast. And, of course, we're always streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can find us streaming as a podcast and also as a webcast, so you can watch the show and go behind the scenes. All 3 hours commercial-free, whenever you want, over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. And a special thank you goes out to our servicemen and women in the Space Force, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and the Army, who are listening to the Kim Komando Show right now on the American Forces Network Radio. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open. I'd love to hear from you. I'm sure you have at least, I don't know, a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to, and that number is 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. All right, let's start this hour with 5 things that you need to know about consumer tech to keep you up to date that will make a difference in your life. And, you know, for, I don't know, it seems like a couple of years we've been talking about Elon Musk's, well, not just Twitter, but SpaceX, and also his Starlink satellite broadband service. And basically his idea is to canvass the entire globe with satellites that will beam down broadband internet access. So if you live in a rural area, or maybe you want an option than just your local cable companies, that you can have that. It's not cheap, let me tell you that. It's $600 for the equipment. Then the service is $110 a month. But now you have an added bonus if you'd like to travel. So I thought this was interesting. That's why I wanted to pass it along. Because I'm thinking maybe the cable companies are going to hear about this and they're going to say, whoa, we should be doing this too. It's called portability. And what it allows you to do is to use your Starlink service when you're not at home. Say if you're camping or if you're out of town, you're at your second home. It costs $25 a month, so it brings that monthly to $135. And it only works on the continent where it's service. Well, that makes sense. You also have to carry some equipment with you. And it doesn't work if you're in motion, so it's not going to work on the highway or in your RV. Even when stationary, Starlink says you might experience a degraded service. So, for example, when you're watching TV, you're watching your streaming show, maybe you're watching that great show where that's called Say Yes to the Dress, and the wedding ceremony goes great, and everybody's dancing and having a great time, and the cake is wonderful. Number 2, let Google Assistant handle that password for you. Last year, Google announced a new thing that will streamline the process, help, and it's going to start to roll out to Google Assistant. And basically, if your credentials, your login, your passwords are caught up in a data breach, it's going to let you know. So here's how it works. Chrome on Android will detect that one of your passwords has been compromised. So you get the notification as usual. But now there's a new prompt. It's being added that Google Assistant will change your password right then and there automatically for you. You just tap the button and it's all done for you. It's convenient, but here's an idea. I just want you to remember that anytime you store your credentials in a browser, if somebody else has access to your login in your browser, that they have your credentials too. And keep in mind that Google wants your data, and it's not on iOS yet, but it is coming. And if you really want to secure your passwords, you might want to think about getting a password manager. Number 3, TikTok and dancing and making money. Makes me want to really start dancing on our TikTok account. If you haven't checked out our TikTok account, by the way, go to tiktok.com/Kim Komando or search for Kim Komando. And there, our magnificent millennial Matt has been posting some TikTok videos. But I'm thinking maybe I might be dancing after thinking about this. TikTok is now going to be sharing some of the revenue with creators whose videos run aside certain ads. It's called TikTok Plus, and it's not a small cut. It's not like 3% or 5% or 10%. You could get 50% of all advertising revenue with approved creators. So, who does this apply to? Creators with at least 100,000 followers. Oh, darn it, we don't have that. So if you're on TikTok right now, do me a favor, follow us. I don't care if you ever even go to TikTok. Just go ahead and follow me, Kim Komando, on TikTok. And they're going to put some ads alongside the top 4% of all videos. Now, this sounds vaguely familiar to you? Well, because it sounds and works kind of like YouTube, that pays creators 55% of the cut. Now, TikTok Pulse is set to launch over the next month, rolling out to other countries. Just remember, this is money that you're earning, and you're going to have to pay Uncle Sam. It's called the TikTok tax. All right, number 4. You better start trimming those nose hairs, and let me tell you why. Because if you are on an Apple Watch, the Dick Tracy, let's have a video call, could be happening right now. Not from Apple, which means Apple should be copying this and getting it very soon. I'm talking about a third-party watch strap that has a built-in camera. It's called the Wrist Cam. And it was announced in 2020. It sounds familiar to me, too. The main purpose is to take photos and videos using 1 or 2 cameras. There's a 2-megapixel selfie cam above the watch face. An 8-megapixel forward-facing camera can hold 2,000 photos, up to an hour of video. It's pretty bulky. But now it's being updated to allow video calling, similar to FaceTime, but it is not FaceTime. You start by attaching the special band to your watch, you download the app, and then you pair it. Video calls are made through the Wrist Cam app. Now, here's the downside. Whoever you're calling also has the app. So I don't really think this is something that's going to take off, but it is something, as I did say, that Apple's going to say, this looks like a good idea for us, doesn't it? Finally, number 5, let's party like it's 2006. Yes. Do you remember the Nintendo Wii? Yes, I had one too. Released, can you believe this, 16 years ago. And it wasn't like your typical video console because you had the Wii remote and the nunchuck. And it made a huge hit because you could jump around and you could have some exercise and baseball, tennis, bowling, golf, and boxing. If you did boxing on the Nintendo Wii, you could actually work up a sweat. Now, the problem is a lot of people didn't follow the recommendations. That would be me, because they had these straps and put around your wrist, so in case you threw the remote, that's going to hit something. And then so many people were throwing these nunchucks into the TVs. Well, today, if you have a Nintendo Switch, you can see where I'm going with this. The controllers are called Joy-Cons. And there's a new game that was recently released called Nintendo Switch Sports. It looks like Wii Sports from the mid-2000s. So now that the reports are out again, players are not securing the controllers with their hands. And so one player who's live streaming on Twitch accidentally let go of the Joy-Con controller while playing tennis, and he broke the monitor. There are so many reports of broken TVs on Reddit, too. And I saw one being sold for parts. A broken screen, no way to adjust the volume. It was really sad that this happened because of a video game. And, it was a good deal. It was like $10. It sounds like something you couldn't just turn down. Okay, coming up in just a few moments, if you have an old TV, speaking of, you can turn it into a smart TV. Yes, you can, for about $30. We have brand new or not true, and I'm telling you, this week's incredibly difficult. I spent some extra time on it just to kind of stump you, so make sure that you're joining us. And then in our digital life hacks tips, we have some free stuff that you can get with your cable subscription you don't want to miss. And then later on, well, if you're looking for a job, yes, another scam I need to tell you about. And of course, we have all of your great phone calls here on the Kim Komando Show.
Shopify helps businesses break sales records over the holidays with the world's best converting checkout. Let's hear that one more time. The world's best converting checkout. Shopify's legendary checkout makes it easier for customers to shop on your website, across social media, and everywhere in between. Now that's music to your ears. Any way you spin it, you can be a smash hit with Shopify. Start your $1 a month trial today at shopify.com/records.
Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a quick reminder, if you're shy, you don't want to come on a national radio show, I understand that because, well, there's just millions and millions of people listening and you might be scared, is that you can still send me your question. And then I'll answer that question here on the show in one of our newsletters or maybe as a tip on the site. And you can do that by heading over to Komando.com. That's Komando.com. And in the right-hand corner of Komando.com, there are a few links, but the link that I want you to pay attention to, it says email Kim. That would be me. And I read every single email that you sent. And while you're there, I'll go ahead and click that link that says free newsletters and sign up for the Kim Komando Show newsletters. So this way you get our breaking news, our morning report, you get our tips, the current, all kinds of great things like that. And while you're there, make sure that you always set your preferences over at Komando.com/subscribe. William in Cleveland, Ohio. Hello there, William.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Kim.
You got it. What's going on?
Well, I don't know if you saw my email or not, but I am just basically kind of frustrated with Windows, same as I have been for years. Typical story. It's probably typical to you. I have a HP laptop running Windows. What's the second latest? 10, I guess. And it just
11,
seems that...
whatever. Yes. Okay.
Whatever. It's not the brand new one, but, my Apple... Yet I still use one in my iPhone. Despite their age, they seem to function and respond quickly. But, with Windows, I'm doing everything that I think I should be. I run disk cleanup, disk defragmenter. I use Viper, antivirus. I keep it up to date. I don't know. I think I'm doing everything that I should be. I run crap cleaner, but by the time I power it on to the time I'm getting to Chrome, my browser, it can be a good 7 to 8 minutes sometimes. And it's just
so frustrating.
Not even counting the spinning blue wheel of death or whatever they call it. It's not even counting that. If it's just the case that the laptop happens to be getting old, I get it. But why over time, what physical attributes change about the computer? To me, it's seemingly nothing. That it's a software thing.
It's a software.
With Windows, why shouldn't I just abandon Windows altogether then? It's hard to do, though.
Well, it's a common problem. I mean, they call it Windows for a reason, right? DOZE, right? I mean, and it's a common culprit. And what you said is really fascinating because I too have an old Apple MacBook that's probably, I think it might be 9 or 10 years old, and that thing still works. Okay, it may not be fast, but it doesn't take forever for it to boot up like a Windows machine
and that's
does.
What a coworker told me something very similar.
And Windows I think it's just crappy code. I think it's just, even though Microsoft says that we started the operating system, I think it's just too many patches upon patches upon patches and too many calls to this area or that area. And then you've got, incompatibility with maybe certain chips and memory and then different apps and programs. And maybe because it's not a closed ecosystem like Apple, but the Windows machines, they don't seem to be working as well as an Apple machine. And, just as a little fun fact for you, I think this is fascinating. Which operating system do you think has more lines of code? Is it Windows or is it Apple? Which operating system has more lines of code? Now, if you're watching us over at Komando.com inside the Komando community, I want you to go ahead and post your answer right now. Is it Windows or Mac? Okay, I'll give you a second. The answer is Mac. Mac actually has more lines of code, 87 million lines of code versus Windows at 55 million lines of code. So if you've got an old Windows machine, and you mentioned Chrome, William, and if you want to give it new life without just tossing it out or saying, this is time in my life that I'll never get back, 7 or 8 minutes every time I want to start a laptop, is that you don't need to do that and you don't need to buy a new laptop. If you have an older laptop, Windows laptop, what I want you to do is take a look at Chrome Flex. This is a new operating system from Google that will breathe new life into old laptops. Now, it's not going to have all the bells and whistles of Windows. It's going to be like, a souped up Chrome browser, but that thing's going to start when you want it to start. It's not going to be bogged down with all this stuff that you mentioned, the crap cleaner and the defragger and everything else that you have to do. And we've got links on how to install it. Just make sure you have everything backed up off that Windows machine, obviously, that you might need. And of course, you can always use our sponsor iDrive for that. If you use promo code Kim, you get a whole bunch off. I think it's like 90%. But you might want to try this Chrome Flex. It's a new operating system, as I mentioned, from Google. And it's just like a souped up version of the Chrome browser. We've got links on how to set it up and how to use it over at Komando.com. And trust me, your frustrations are heard nationwide. Everybody who just heard your call, William, are like, yeah, that's what it takes with Windows. All right, so you got an old TV laying around and you're wishing that it had some smarts. Now, here's the big secret that the TV manufacturers don't want you to know, is that you can bring that old TV into the streaming age for about $30. So as long as your old TV has an HDMI port, you can use it to watch your favorite streaming shows on Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, HBO, and more. You just need a streaming service dongle that plugs in to the TV's HDMI port. Now, for this, you got 3 solid options. If you're an Amazon Prime member, the $20 Amazon Fire TV stick gives you movie, shows, music on Prime Video, Prime Audio. Next up is Google Chromecast. For about $30, you get access to any streaming service that has an app for your iPhone or Android. But for the ultimate, you may want to look at Roku, their Streaming Stick Plus. And you can find links to all 3 streaming dongles right now over at Komando.com. And stay right where you are. Coming up is Brand New or Not True here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, Brand New or Not True is America's favorite radio game show sensation, where you can play along at home and guess, is it brand new or is it just not true? And I make up the 2 fake products. Yes, they come out of this brain of mine. And then there's always the real product. So it's up to you to decide which is the real product, true or fake. One is real, once again. And I don't give out product names when I'm describing them because some people have cheated. That's right. And so we don't give out any product names, but we always have a special guest contestant. And you can also be a guest contestant by heading over to Komando.com and filling out that form. It says email Kim. And this week is Nancy in San Clemente, California. Beautiful San Clemente. Hello there, Nancy.
Hi there, Kim. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Now, if you win Brand New or Not True, a lot of people are trying to just ask me if they can buy this. And I say, no, it's just exclusive. This is just exclusive for Brand New or Not True winners. And that is the official Kim Komando Show fanny pack, valued at $24.99. Right. So you're pretty excited to win it, I bet, huh?
Oh, of course, yes.
And what do you do in San Clemente?
I'm a commercial insurance agent.
Oh, great. You're going to love these products, and I bet this is really going to be something. So do you deal with ransomware insurance?
We do. We do, yes, for businesses. Yeah.
And, because I just took a look at my policy, and our agent was telling us that the prices have gone up with ransomware insurance and the coverage has gone down. I'm like, that doesn't seem right to me. Okay.
Yeah, because of what's going on out there's a lot of, that going on. So
exactly. Exactly.
It's important that if you're a business, you got to have it.
I know. It's ridiculous. All right. So 2 products are fake. 1 is real. Okay. And we're going to start with product number 1. You ready? You got your thinking cap on, Nancy? Because we're going to go right now. Product number 1. When's the last time you weighed yourself, Nancy?
This morning.
Excellent. We've been weighing ourselves forever. I looked this up. The most ancient relics were discovered near present-day Pakistan, and they date back to 2000 BC. People were weighing themselves. The first scales were 2 plates attached to an overhead beam. Wow, isn't that something? That's a true story. So now you can get a piece of tech that if you crushed a scale with your doctor, that never leaves you alone, Nancy. Okay, with this new scale, you can get your weight, but could you imagine it tells you the fat mass of your whole body, your percentage of body fat, and then it separates it by the fat in your legs, the fat in your arms, the fat in your waist. And then it comes up also with a vascular age. That's the age of your arteries. On top of that, it gives you a neuropathy scale and score. All of this is done. A bar comes up through the scale, if you can imagine this, and it sends low voltage electrical currents through your body. Wow. Gives you all these stats about your weight. Wouldn't that be great? If someone steals this scale, I'm confident that they won't get away with it. Price is going to be about $1,499 when it comes out. Product number 2. Thanks to the global pandemic, Nancy, we've all become, can you fill in the blank, germaphobes. That's right. We sanitize our doorknobs and ourselves, but we haven't given a lot of thought to our sheets. New Micron Germalogic technology combined with a self-cleaning system is woven into these new sheet fibers for your bed. The combination of gold and copper allows the sheets to remain cleaner by fighting germs, bacteria, fungus, viruses, and other pathogens. Now, these new sensors built in the sheets also track when it's time for you to wash your sheets. You pair your sheets with an app on your smartphone, and then you get notifications when the sheets have reached a 10% bacteria pathogen factor. No more washing your sheets before you really have to. The price of the sheets vary on size, but a typical queen size starts at $229. Includes the flat, the fitted sheets, 2 standard pillowcases. And in case you're wondering, the sheets do work on a water bed. You just need to use spring water. Product number 3. Okay, I heard you laugh about that one. We've been using keyboards for a long time, so we all know the shortcuts. Control A selects everything, Control F finds a phrase on a page, Control P to print. But which ones get used the most? Control C, V, copy and paste, of course. So wouldn't it be great instead of having to press 2 keys, you could just press 1 key? Well, the future is here. It's a keyboard extension that plugs into your computer's USB port, and it has a C, a V, and a 3rd key, anything that you want. So from now on, you just press 1 key. No more 2 keys for you. You can program it any way that you want. And if you can't see the end, you've lost control, you have no home, and you don't think there's escape, this is the product for you. $29.99. It's a tough week, isn't it, Nancy? This is tough. So you've got product number 1 is the, I guess you'd call it the ultimate weighing scale, something like that. Number 2 are some new sheets that tell you when you're going to need to wash them. And product number 3 are a new way to get shortcuts off your keyboard. So, Nancy, it's for the official Kim Komando Show fanny pack. It's a big prize. Which of the 3 do you think is the real product?
I think the sheets are real.
Okay, Nancy is going with the sheets, product number 2. And what do the judges say?
I'm so excited to introduce Body Scan.
Body
Scan is much
scan.
more than a smart scale. It's the first at-home connected health station.
Yes. So you stand on this, and it tells you everything. It tells you where all your body fat is. It tells you how your arteries are doing, how your kidneys are functioning by putting electrical currents through your body. I don't know if that sounds like something I'd want, but it seems like TMI, too much information at any given moment. Yes, and it's going to be coming out from a company called Y Things, and they've been around for a while. They have this scale that you can stand on, and then it will. People are always freaking out because it's connected to the internet, and they always think like, "Oh gosh, this scale's going to post my weight on Facebook." Not really, but it does keep track of everything along the way. So, you didn't win the Kim Komando Show fanny pack, but because you're such a great contestant, we're going to send you one anyway because you were wonderful for playing along. All right, so I know you have a question for me. What's on your mind?
So I have 2 printers that I want to donate. One of them's an Epson, and the other one is an HP. They're all-in-ones.
Okay.
And I thought I heard or read that you need to wipe out your data that you've copied or scanned before you give it away because someone can, get a hold of that. And that's what I can't figure out how to do. I've reset all the settings back to factory settings, but that doesn't tell me that my data, my personal info, has been removed. And
Yeah.
so that's what I'm calling you about.
Well, here's the deal, and you're really smart. These all-in-one printers, they have a little bit of internal storage because it has to help with the scanner and the copier and the fax features. As far as being able to get any of your data back, is after you do the factory reset, is that you can look in the menus and look on the app, and sometimes it'll say, do you want to reprint something or do you want to look at the history? But typically, if you do a factory reset, that should be good enough. And if you want to be really, really safe, and if you want to be extra cautious, is that you can just print, like, say, 10 blank pages, right? And so that's what the printer will store. You want to scan a couple of blank pages, maybe 2 or 3. You want to copy some blank pages. And so if, in fact, there is anything out there that could be stored on the printer after a factory reset, and if, depending upon what you were using it for, especially if it was HIPAA or confidential, you got your bank accounts, you want to take those extra steps, is that you just go ahead and you start printing a couple of, like I mentioned, just some blank pages, so that this way whatever's going to be stored, the most recent, is going to have nothing on it, and it's going to wipe out anything that you had there. Nancy, thank you so much for playing Brand New or Not True, and thanks again for your call today. It's time now for our digital life hacks tip, and this week is brought to you by Angie. I recently needed to hire a housekeeper for a really big job, and I picked up a few referrals from friends, but I actually had somebody say, no, the house is too big, I don't want to do it, even though she cleans a house that's bigger than this. I don't understand it. Some showed up late, another gal wanted to charge way too much, and it just didn't seem like it was working out. But I used Angie in the past for landscaping with great results, so I pulled up the app to see if they could help. Once again, Angie did a phenomenal job. In just a few taps, let me tell you, I found the perfect housekeeper. The woman who came was prompt. She took the time to get the job right. She charged a fair rate. And let me tell you, she cleaned the inside of my dishwasher. I've never had anybody clean the inside of my dishwasher. She did the baseboard in the kitchen. She did the outside grill. I was like, wow, this is really something. I love how easy Angie makes it to cross things off your to-do list in just a few taps. You just answer a few questions online or in the Angie app, and Angie handles the rest from start to finish. Plus, when you book and pay through Angie, you get their happiness guarantee. Covers your project up to the full purchase price. And so whether it's routine maintenance or a dream remodel, Angie makes it easy to get the job done and get the job done right. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com. All right. You may not know this, but you get some free stuff with your cable subscription. You're like, what was that? Yes. You actually have to do a whole bunch of research. So we did all the heavy lifting for you. We found some significant advantages, from technical benefits like better reception to just getting free stuff. Like, for example, you can get cheap or free Wi-Fi from a cable company. It's called the Lifeline program or the Affordable Connectivity program. Or you can just turn to your cable TV subscription. Some companies are offering internet service as well as TV streaming service, so you can get that type of deal. Now, some cable providers want to turn your router into a Wi-Fi hotspot for the neighborhood. This way, other customers can get internet service no matter where they're located. So it's kind of like setting up this whole mesh network. That could also be a way that you could save some money. Your cable company may also offer you a huge video on demand library. You may not know this. And I'm talking about movies that you have to pay. You just might have to see where the on-demand setup is. Sometimes it's often in the setup menu. And you can also stream music wherever you're located. Again, that's also an advantage of having a cable bill. So in case you're wondering, like, why is my cable bill so high and what am I not using of it, make sure that you check out this great digital life hacks tip that you're going to find over at Komando.com. And when you're there, hit the link that says Kim Show. All right, still to come this hour, we have a new job scam. Yeah, another job scam that's spreading like crazy we need to tell you about, as well as more of your great phone calls here on the Kim Komando Show. This portion of the show has been brought to you by Home Title Lock. My identity theft program doesn't protect my home, and that's why I trust Home Title Lock to help keep home title thieves away. Visit HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim and you don't know it. That address is HomeTitleLock.com. Tell them Kim sent you. That's HomeTitleLock.com. All right. Of course, you love all things digital. I just want to let you know about we have a great podcast. It's Kim Komando Today. That would be me today, Monday through Friday, is that you can get a Kim Komando podcast where we talk about all things digital and I take your phone calls. Again, that's Kim Komando Today, wherever you get your podcasts. And actually, you get a special treat on Fridays with Kim Komando Today, and that's when we do Tech Refresh, a podcast. And that's where Allie and Matt, we talk about, well, what's going on the internet, some news, some tips, and there's always a really great funny joke at the end. Well, I think they're funny most of the time. Other people do too. So wherever you get your podcast, just search for Komando and get Kim Komando Today. Back to the phones we go with Edwin in Tampa, Florida. Hello there, Edwin.
Hey, hello, how are you?
I'm great. So happy that you called me today. What's going on and how can I help you out?
I'm excited to get on. My wife and I love the show. We love all the information you give us, but we need a little help with technology every now and then. I'm looking to get her a camera. And
Nice.
I'm a teacher, and one of the tech person at school mentioned mirrorless, and I wrote it down as MERAILS, like mirrorless, like a brand, and I'm online trying to find a mirrorless
And you're
camera,
like,
and I'm getting
there's
frustrated.
no, what is that mirrorless? Where is that?
Did you mean mirrorless? And I'm yelling, like, no. Then I'm looking at my phone, and I saw we get the newsletter. I'm like, duh, just.
Yeah,
So
and
here
it's
I
not,
am.
and it's not Miralax either. Okay, it's not that either. All right, so mirrorless. I have a mirrorless camera myself. Is that if you really if you really are into photography and you don't really want to carry a big bulky DSLR, okay, but you like to have great options and shots, and they work on Wi-Fi, and it's about the size of your hand. Mirrorless is, it's not new. It's been out for about 4 or 5 years, and you can put different lenses on a mirrorless camera as well. And that it's a great alternative. And then the other thing that you can get for your wife is, you remember when DSLRs first came out, is they had like those funky cords that you put on your camera, and so it'd be like the strap, and so like Amazon, you can buy some really great straps for mirrorless cameras and also DSLRs. What's your budget look like?
Well, we're kind of beginners. Well, we are beginners. So I know I've been pricing some things between like $500-600, and I've seen some things way higher. And maybe later on if we get good with it. But like for right now, I just saw $500-700 kind of seems the range we were looking at.
And what does she want to take photos of?
Well, she likes nature, and like when the car, she does a lot of her phone. She sees clouds. She likes doing stuff like that. So,
let me tell you about two. Let me tell you about two things. One of the things. What kind of phone does she have?
Well, she has an iPhone.
Okay, you might want to do this. Okay, because since she's already carrying her phone, is that I can point you. You can put different lenses on the back of your iPhone. And so you can get a fisheye, wide angle, panoramic, micro lens, a macro lens, and you can buy a whole set of lenses for like $25. I'm just saying, if that's an option, if that was something that was just a novelty. But if she's really into it, a good mirrorless camera might be, like a Fuji is the one that I have and the one that I selected, might be a little bit out of your budget. In that sense, I want you to take a look at a Panasonic advanced point and shoot camera. Really easy to use, like you mentioned, you're beginners. The model number, Edwin, is a DMC LX10. Panasonic Lumix DMC LX10. It's about $500. It's a great point and shoot camera. Why don't you look at that? And as well as, I'm going to put a link to that, as well as my Fuji camera inside the Komando community. So in case you want to spend some more money, you can find a link to it directly there. Stay right where you are. There's a new job scam I need to tell you about here on the Kim Komando Show. So here's what happens. A recruiter contacts you and says, you're perfect for this job. And you're like, oh, thank you. Then they want you to download an app. Yes, that's the big red flag, because it may not necessarily be the app, and it may not necessarily be a recruiter, just somebody trying to get something on your phone or computer so they can steal all your money. So always be careful. And stay right where you are. We have another jam-packed, fun-filled hour of the show coming up here on the West Star Multimedia Network. You got me. It's Kim Komando today, and I'm here with you just the facts and tips you need to thrive in our digital world. Or, as I like to say, to live the best digital life ever.